The phone was vibrating in my hand while I was hiding under a fallen tree, my chest pressed into wet leaves, and the last voice message my sister ever sent me started playing on its own, whispering, "They're here," even though she'd been dead for 3 days. I remember thinking very calmly that if I moved even an inch, the sound would give me away, because whatever had followed her into these woods was close enough now that I could hear it breathing, slow and wet, somewhere behind me. I need to rewind, because it didn't start with me in the dark or with a dead woman's voice coming through my phone. It started with a road trip that was supposed to be stupid and simple and forgettable. My sister Rachel had always loved the woods, not in a camping blog way, not with matching flannels and enamel mugs, but in a restless, obsessive way. She said cities made her feel watched. She said the woods felt honest. So when she called me late on a Tuesday night and said she'd found this place up north, this stretch of state forest that barely showed up on Google Maps, I didn't argue. I should have. She told me there used to be a fire tower out there, decommissioned decades ago, and that people online claimed they'd hear voices coming from it at night. Rachel laughed when she said it, but it was that laugh she did when she was already halfway convinced. She said she wanted to record some audio, maybe make a short documentary, maybe just prove it was all nonsense. She asked me to come along because I was the responsible one, which should have been my cue to say no. We drove up that Friday in her beat-up Subaru, the back full of cheap camping gear and recording equipment she barely knew how to use. The town nearest the forest was one of those places where everything shuts down by 7, where the gas station clerk watches you like you're a storm cloud rolling in. When Rachel asked him about the fire tower, his face changed. Not dramatic, just closed. He said, "That trail's not maintained," and slid her receipt across the counter like that was the end of it. The forest itself felt wrong in a way that's hard to explain without sounding dramatic. The air was heavy, like it hadn't moved in years. No birds, no bugs. Even our footsteps sounded muffled, like the ground was swallowing noise. Rachel noticed it too. She stopped joking. She kept checking her recorder, tapping the mic, whispering test phrases and playing them back, frowning every time. We set up camp just before dusk. The fire tower was farther in than we'd planned, and she decided we'd hike to it in the morning. That night, sitting by a small fire, she admitted she'd already been out here once, alone. She said she hadn't told me because she knew I'd talk her out of coming back. She said she'd heard something then, something that sounded like a voice calling her name from deep in the trees. I told her she was scaring herself. I told her voices carry weirdly in the woods. She nodded, but she didn't look convinced. Sometime after midnight, I woke up to the sound of her whispering. I thought she was on the phone until I realized she was recording. She was sitting up in her sleeping bag, staring into the darkness beyond the fire pit, holding the mic out like an offering. I asked her what she was doing, and she jumped like I'd slapped her. She said she heard it again, the voice. She said it was closer this time. I didn't hear anything, just silence so thick it made my ears ring. The next morning, Rachel was wired. No fear, just focus. She replayed audio for me where I could hear something, a low, almost human murmur under the static. It wasn't clear enough to be words, but it was enough to make my skin crawl. We packed up and headed for the tower. The trail disappeared about halfway there, not gradually, just gone, swallowed by undergrowth. Rachel insisted we were close. She said she could feel it. That was the first time I wondered if something was really wrong with her, not the woods. We found the fire tower just before sunset. It was worse than I expected. Rusted legs sinking into the ground, stairs half collapsed, the platform above leaning slightly like it was tired of standing. Rachel was ecstatic. She circled it, recording everything, narrating under her breath. She climbed the first few steps before I could stop her. That's when she froze. She looked down at me and said, "It knows we're here." I asked her who she meant. She didn't answer. She just backed down the stairs, slow, like she was afraid to turn around.
We didn't camp there. We hiked back in near dark, tripping, cursing, both of us silent. That night, I woke up alone. Her sleeping bag was empty. Her phone was gone. The recorder was still there, sitting by the fire pit, red light blinking like it was still recording. From somewhere in the trees, I heard my name in Rachel's voice. I didn't follow it. I still don't know if that makes me smart or a coward. I stayed until morning, screaming her name until my throat gave out, then hiked back to the car and drove to town. The police came. Search and rescue came. They found footprints leading away from camp. They found the fire tower again. They didn't find her. 3 days later, they called me in to identify what little they'd recovered. I won't describe it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the official story was exposure, disorientation, a tragic accident. They handed me her phone in a plastic bag and said they'd pulled what they could off it. I listened to her last voice message alone in my apartment that night, the one time-stamped at 2:17 a.m. It started with her breathing hard, twigs snapping underfoot, and then her whispering, "They're here," plural. She said it like a fact. Here's the thing I haven't told anyone. After the funeral, I started getting notifications, missed calls from Rachel's number, voicemails with no sound, and then a new message, recorded. She said my name, calm, close, like she was standing right behind me. If you're listening to this and you're thinking there's some logical explanation, bad signal, delayed uploads, grief messing with my head, I want to know what you'd do next, because I tried all of that. I changed my number, I deleted the files, I smashed the old phone with a hammer and threw it in a river. It didn't stop. The messages started coming from unknown numbers, different area codes, same voice, always the same words. They're here. Sometimes followed by something new, directions, coordinates. I ignored them until one night I got a message that wasn't from her voice. It was from mine, recorded while I was asleep, according to the timestamp. In it, I was whispering, "I can hear them now." That's what sent me back. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I packed a bag, bought a cheap burner phone, and drove north until the roads narrowed and the trees closed in. The forest looked the same, too still, like it was waiting. I followed the coordinates to the fallen tree where I'm recording this now, and a few minutes ago, before I hit record, my phone lit up. One last message from Rachel's number. "They're here," she said, and behind her voice, clear as day, was mine, answering back.